Action!
Disgust me. Grow up.
Hello everybody, welcome to episode 2 of What's the Script? Thanks everybody for tuning in to our first one, which was obviously Stand By Me. We got a good nice good bit of feedback and we enjoyed doing it. We were very methodical in it, right enough, Chris, weren't we?
Aye, if there was anything missed, it wasn't worth talking about.
Aye, and there was not only was there stuff no missed, there was stuff added in there, like Lost Boys and stuff like that, and fucking a script for another film. Tell you.
Yeah. Definitely. Just need to hope Sterling can reprise his role.
Aye, definitely. But this week we are going to be critiquing one of our favourite, well, my favourite Batman out of all the franchises thus far. I've seen the Batman twice now, and it's up there. It's definitely up there. But we'll be doing Batman Begins today, mate, won't we?
Oh, definitely, mate. Definitely. And before we begin, see what I've done there? Shout-outs to MG and Drew for listening and hopefully passing it on. Got good feedback after them. Long live Miss.
Oh, is that a private joke, that, aye?
They'll know.
And that's, what's the name of the game?
Last Shelter Survival. LSS.
LSS Community. God damn it, man, I tip my hat off to y'all. Motherfucker. And if you're from Canada, say hello, eh? What about you? So I'm only kidding. So, Batman Begins, right? It's both an origin story and it's the first of the trilogy that Chris Nolan directed. Absolutely brilliant. 2005 this film was out. But the thing I noticed, Chris, with this movie, because like you were right, we've watched this 30, 40 times, it stands up today, doesn't it? It's still...
Aye. That's what I mean. I think it's took it right away from, say, the old cheesy kind of comic way, and it could fit in any time period. Because I think when they say they're not making this, they were making it as realistic as they could. Well, I mean, that's well, looking at all the stuff, details behind this, apparently Nolan took all the crew into like a picture house, like a cinema, and watched Blade Runner and says to them, "This is how we're going to make Batman." So,
what? Really?
Genuinely. I didn't see. Did you see Blade Runner in this?
Not an inkling, not a fucking... No, because the future and lasers and flying motors and...
I think he's talking more, let's say, the realism. See, whenever you've seen a future film before Blade Runner, everything was all shiny and optimistic, whereas Blade Runner, it's a shite hole, you know what I mean?
Aye, there's a mood about the place, isn't there? You can see that on the screen with Blade Runner. It's not one of my, actually, I think it's quite an overrated film, personally, Blade Runner. I know, I can see your face. I'll maybe get back to it. Maybe get back to it and like it better, maybe 20 years down the line. But talking about that kind of thing, the moods of the place, cinematography, it was Wally Pfister. Wally Pfister. The cinematography for this. And like, I want to shy away from the recent Batman and stop making comparisons, right? But the one thing I will say about Batman Begins is you feel like Gotham has its own character in this movie. You're very aware of the time and the moods about the place, and even when you get into the Narrows and stuff like that as well. I think cinematography Wally Pfister was brilliant. And then for the get-go, you've got the main man only behind maybe John Williams, Hans Zimmer, and that tune, man, that driving tune, all brilliant in it.
Aye, all the way through the film. He's fond of a French horn, his hands. But, I know. Talking about the Narrows as well. Apparently that was all a set build.
Really?
That's all inside a big warehouse.
Wow.
Which is that's quite impressive. I thought it was like a location somewhere. You know what I mean?
I imagined it was because of the monorail and all that. I thought it was underground Chicago kind of thing.
Yeah. No, but it's all a set build. There's a lot of the films that are set build. But majority is Chicago and that. Aye. That's quite interesting.
Chicago, it's my kind of town. Brilliant. I know that sounded fuck all like Frank Sinatra, but there you go. So the movie kicks off, right? I know. 17 years old. I mean, you say 2005, I don't think it been 17 years old, but again, it stands up absolutely brilliant. And from the get-go, it's the backstory, it's how we came to be. It's young Bruce running about daft in his mansion at the back garden, his wee pal, and then, I know, running about daft, that's how you run about daft. I'm going to try and enunciate a bit better this week, I do apologise. And he falls down the well, the hidden well in his back garden.
Aye, actually, I think it's good how they done that in this film. Seeing like other films, it was like you got the whole whammy at the start, like the origin and all that. Whereas through this film, they give you dribs and drabs it, so it's not just a big chunk right at the start, because it's like editing. See, like a Spider-Man film in that now. You get both. You see in the backstory, you know how it happens. You know what I mean? But it was just plus the Rachel Dawes character was wrote specifically for this film.
Aye, definitely, and we can see why as the trilogy goes on. Well, the first two anyway, because she's a main character in Bruce Wayne's life as a child and all the way through it, growing up and stuff like that as well.
Spoiler alert. She's known the third one.
Spoiler alert for anybody that's not seen it. Yeah, grip of yourself. Do you know what I mean? Some are a bit partial to the Batman.
You can't see mine.
No, definitely. Yours never came, unfortunately. But without dissecting the opening too much, basically, young Bruce falls in a well, gets trapped. When he's down there, you can hear the noises, and through a hole, this absolute tirade of bats comes out it and frightens the life out of young Bruce, and that's where he gets his initial fear from. The bats, he's scared of them, and ultimately, as the opening goes on, there's a little bit of interplay with him and his father and his mother and stuff, and it's kind of his fear, in a way, that gets his mum and dad killed, I think.
That's a fair enough assessment, aye.
It is a bit. It's a bit over. It's a bit over the top. But while they go to the opera, obviously they're in the opera. On the way to the opera, I noticed they're on the train. They're on the monorail, the Gotham monorail, and he deduces from his dad that his dad's built this for the poor people of Gotham and stuff like that. And I think that's the only time all the Batman franchises you actually see the sun in Gotham.
True, mate. True. It is always musky and dark and horrible looking at it. So that's quite depressing.
You never see Batman out in the morning getting coffee. You know what I mean? Definitely. So they're on the way to the opera. Whatever the opera is, it's Bruce is getting scared. It's reminding him of that. It's bringing back the trauma, and he gets scared and he says to his dad, "Can we go? Can we go?" So they up and leave, and they get into the alley, and they meet Mr. Chill.
Well, see, this is what's different again. You always think it's like a robbery that's gone wrong, and he shoots them. But as this film kind of goes on, there's things that make you think, was this like a planned hit and stuff that made it look like a robbery? Don't know. But that wee guy, he's turned up in a lot of stuff after this as well. He was in Doom and all that. I'm sure he was in the Kingsman films as well.
The guy played Chill, or young Bruce?
Aye, chill. Oh, young Bruce, I think this is the last thing he's done.
Aye, I wrote down as well about the young Bruce. Not quite yet, but obviously, I mean, Chill kills Thomas and Martha. Young Bruce sees it all, and this is where the trauma takes it on. You know what I mean? He's feet of bats when he's an orphan, and it then cuts to the police station, and we see Jim Gordon for the first time, who's only a uniform officer, and he's consoling and comforting young Bruce and stuff like that. And aye, it's interesting as well at the trilogy to see Gordon going through the ranks.
It establishes it in that bit there that he's a good guy. You know what I mean? He might be the one good cop in the whole of Gotham, because when the commissioner comes in, it's not about consoling or anything like that. It's just like, oh, good news, we got him, and you're like that. Aye, but that's not fucking used to me.
Exactly. Oh, is that going to bring my mummy and daddy back? Oh, you're dancing.
I'm going back to stay with Michael Caine, and I hate his accent.
Aye, definitely, man. Absolutely mental. But we see that there's a bit of back and forth between young Bruce and, you know, League of Shadows and stuff like that. But the crux of the matter is he's back at the day of the funeral. Followed a wee bit, and Alfred sees him at the window. He waves to Rachel, and I wrote down there that I think the young actor, whose name escapes me, that played the young Bruce there, every time I see him, he turns around and says to Alfred, "It's my fault. It's my fault. I got him killed." That gets me, man. That wee boy, he's very believable, man.
Aye, does sell it. So, but like anything, most child actors, they get the big one and then they don't do much else.
Aye,
it's just the way it is. But talking about Alfred, you're rating Alfred as the best. Michael Caine is the best Alfred.
Yes, I do. People that know the comics and know there's two different. This is quite a backstory that a lot of comic lovers weren't in agreement with to start with, because it's always been the fact that Alfred trains Bruce, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this one, Alfred's very much just the butler, but he's like a father figure as well. But his wee quips and anecdotes and all that are excellent. That's what I love about Michael Caine. Doesn't he try to hide his accent? Posh.
I know. He's good, man. Michael Caine's good in a lot of stuff he does, man. He just plays the character right in the middle. But talking about Bruce back and forth and all that, see in the prison, see that breakfast he gets before he starts fighting with the guys? That would bring you into crime.
Oh,
I mean, somebody shoveled that. I don't know, coloured water or something. I don't know.
It's like dishwater,
Rice Krispies,
and bits of sponge, bits of soapy sponge.
Somebody gave you that, you'd be doing 12 to life after that. Whoever's holding that spoon.
Aye, I always find it amazing to see fat prisoners in a prison like that. What eating? What? Big on that.
That's why there's a couple of empty beds, mate.
Well, I suppose so, maybe. Aye. It's like Hurley and Lost, never loses any weight. You know what I mean? But that is probably the best fight scene in the whole film. For me, personally. When he's in the Tibetan prison, and the wee line there, it says, what does it says?
You're not the devil, you're practice.
Well, I am the devil.
It's just pure cool as fuck, man. See the way he says it? Just, your practice. But as you see, he's no fear and stuff. But when that fight happens, you see he's no trainer or anything. It's just pure raw, whatever. Just throwing whatever and hoping it hits something.
Because before he heals him, it does a mad. He throws a punch for the back of his head, and you're like, how are you doing that?
They call that the bat wing.
Oh, is that what it was? Before it was a bat, you see. There's a bat wing. Oh! But he gets taken away to solitary confinement for the other prisoners' protection, because he's obviously banjoing them on a daily basis, and that's where he meets the cat.
Aye, Liam Neeson. Apparently, I know that's the first role Liam Neeson's ever played obviously, well, you don't know at that point, but obviously he turns out to be the bad guy. Apparently, that's his first role, playing the bad guy.
Really?
Apparently.
Mm.
All of the rest of these films, it was always like a father figure and all that, and helped people. So, like, well, if you don't know, like the Rob Roy McGregor film and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
We'll never be reviewing that fucking movie, man. Never be reviewing that.
Even because it stars Tim Roth. Oh,
Aye, that's right.
that man's film royalty.
Aye, anybody that's not seen Rob Roy, congratulations. And if you're an American that's seen Rob Roy, we don't still live like that. We don't have crofts on the water. We don't do that with our kilt to do a pish. You know what I mean? But
a pish is a urination if you're also American.
well done. You'll need to translate for me. I'm saying about enunciation, but I've only even put my teeth in properly today. I've got no sticky stuff. But basically,
hey.
Aye, you know. Basically, the cat gives him an option. He says, if you want to come to the League of Shadows, pick this blue flower, come to the top of the mountain. We'll have a chat about it. In no uncertain terms.
I know. Imagine that, but see, like, obviously it's like a test of all. See that travelling to the League of Shadows, like, headquarters sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
See, just answer it. At what point do you think you would have gave up? And just went, oh, fuck this.
Well, if I had a £1 billion in my bank account.
Aye, exactly. Just like that. Nah.
I think that's what Nolan's trying to say to you. He's got everything you could possibly ever want and get anything he probably ever wanted. However, his drive to atone for his mum and father's death and make something in his life to get back to Gotham and is stronger than any monetary values, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially when it's like a wee Asian guy telling you to turn back. Imagine getting to that point and then somebody goes, turn back. You're like, fuck you.
Aye. You've got to think it's about 20 below and he's got a fucking ride with him. You know what I mean?
Aye. Turn back. I've just climbed mountains to get here. You need to turn back. But
he's a cup of tea.
Aye. Or it's worse. Oh, you've came the wrong way, son. It's going that way.
But he gets there anyway. He's up top of the mountain, wee blue flower. Comes in, door shuts behind him, and gets a shit booted at him, doesn't he?
Aye, that's such a liberty. But see, after that, do you think Ra's al Ghul was like that? Just set about him. Would you claim that one? You know what I mean? The trek of death, and then just boot. Nah. There's a want with that boy.
Aye, fucking right, there's a want about that boy. So obviously gets knocked out, passes out, harks back to his father a wee bit and stuff like that, which is neither here nor there. And then he starts his training.
I see with that as well, going back. That's where you first hear the line, why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves back up again. So I don't know if, again, Nolan's trying to draw comparisons. Does Bruce see Raz like a kind of father figure as well? So I'm just wondering, is that like the kind of trying to bridge something there?
No, that's a good point, mate. That is a good point because I think obviously Alfred's been that role. He's been his educator, his experience in growing up. He's decided to journey off to Tibet, pick up a life of crime, denounce his name, and search for answers and search for his own inner answers. And I think, like you said there, that I think Ducat, as somebody he respects, looks up to, wants to learn from, wants the answers from. So I can totally get that.
Yeah, I was just thinking because he keeps like there's no many flashbacks after like his training.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just thinking, is it just like, oh, aye, my dad says that, and you're kind of seeing the same thing with Ra's al Ghul sort of thing.
And ladies and gentlemen, there's about 10 brilliant phrases and lines for Liam Neeson throughout this whole film. But rather than write down 3 or 4 of them, I never bothered. If you've never seen this film, watch it, man. It's one of these ones where the character was born to play the role that they've got in this film.
It's that good a film. You could take the whole Batman aspect out of it, and it would still be a tremendous film.
Oh, I would still hold up. Aye, definitely.
He's just like, he's practically a bit part in the Batman film.
Definitely, but so pivotal. Do you know what I mean? And especially as the plot unfolds, it's a brilliant piece of writing. It really, really is. So we flash back to the parole hearing. More or less, Bruce is getting trained in the meantime at the League of Shadows, but we flash back to the parole hearing after Bruce gets dumped in the ice by Ducat because he didn't mind his surroundings, and that's what happens there. So back to the parole for the guy that killed his mother and father, and Mr. Chill, and Bruce has made up his mind. He's got a gun, and if he gets off with it, he's going to kill Chill, isn't he?
Aye. It shows you a side to Bruce and Batman I don't think you've seen ever in another film. You know what I mean? Like, see that revenge streak and he's ready to kill somebody. But I don't know if they've put that in there to kind of, again, reinforce that he's not a bad person. You know what I mean? Because I know he goes there with the intent to shoot that guy. You know what I mean? He's not got anything to say to him. Like, see, when the judge asks, is anybody get anything to say here or whatever, and he just walks out the room, I think he's just got that intent in his mind to stay shoot that guy with revenge. You know what I mean?
No, definitely. But obviously the decision gets taken out of his hands when one of Falcone's female hitwomen take the gun out and shoot Chill dead.
But it's just that whole thing. I think it's showing you a side of Batman that you never, well, Bruce Wayne that you never seen.
Aye, because at that point,
then it's just parents and that get killed. You never really know who does it in the other films, isn't it? No? It's always like a shaded like person.
I mean, the original Batman, it was Joker, it was Jack. You know what I mean?
Aye.
And the comic, I've always said it was basically there was nothing behind it. It was a Robin gone bad. You know what I mean? However, this one and the new one, it's there's more behind it, which is brilliantly done. So
definitely, man.
At the hearing as well, Rachel's like, to him, you don't need to see this, and he says, I do need to see it. There's always a part of me thinks, well, he's glad he's been killed. He's half upset at the fact he wasn't the one to do it. But that's neither here nor there. So they're travelling in the car. Bruce reveals to Rachel his intent was to do the killing. And that's when Rachel gives him the worst 2 slaps in movie history.
I know. Bale actually looks affronted, like, you get to slap me and that's what you've done.
Right. Don't have another go at that. Would you like another slap? That was terrible. So,
what actually hurt me was what she said next. Your dad would be ashamed of you. That's what I was like, oh, that's hard hitting that. Maybe that's why the slap wasn't that good. Maybe she's like, I've got an insult here. It's going to floor that boy.
Aye. And as you alluded to at the start, we see the Narrows for the first time. Rachel takes him under street into the Narrows, which is the dregs and the poor and the crime at the upper Gotham knows is there, but chooses not to see. And she kind of says, everybody knows where the crimes are. Everybody knows where Falcone is. You know what I mean? You just need to go and look for it.
He's hiding in plain sight, and you can see that the city knows where he is. Everybody knows where he is, and they see what he's doing as destroying the city, but they don't care. It's not beyond caring about anything. It's like you've gave up with it, sort of thing.
It's a poke to real life, as you said earlier on. It's a real life story. I mean, it's happening in this world just now, but people with clout and financial wherewithal choose not to see it, just to keep an equilibrium. Let them do what they're doing. As long as they're not affecting me, then I'm fine. Do you know what I mean? So it's a societal kind of, look at yourself there, man. This is a movie mirror. Look at that. That shit's going on, man. But he drops him off, he gets out the car, doesn't he?
Aye. He gets out and he chucks the gun away. Maybe what Rachel says to him get through, but then I think it's like reinforced when he sits down with Falcone.
Mm-hmm.
And
great scene, that.
I see that guy that plays Falcone. That was like a perfect role for him because he's no.
Well, he's not very
typical. I mean,
the last
thing
I seen him in before that. The last thing I seen him in before that was Full Monty.
I didn't know you were going to say that.
But it was. It really was.
You know what I said to a guy? He was asking me who famous comes to Scotland, and I said Robert Carlyle, and he didn't know who it was. So I rhymed after James Bond film, 51st States, and all that. See, there's another one. He goes, "Oh, the guy for Full Monty." That's how you remember him.
But sorry, I cut you off there. I say great scene with him and Falcone. He goes in unarmed. The first thing Falcone says to him, "What? No gun? I'm insulted."
But again, I think it's kind of showing you Bruce is in there and he thinks he knows crime and all that, but that guy just lays it out there for him.
Oh, brilliant! And
he realizes he doesn't know anything. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just like this is a really bad guy.
Aye. So, the Falcone he gives him the opportunity to he lets him out there of his life, but he tells him why. He says, "I'm letting you go because you've not got a clue. But I'm going to tell you the clue is, you think because your mum and dad, your mammy and your daddy got shot, you come down here with your attitude." Joe Pesci, man.
And jazz hands.
Aye. He tells him straight, he says, but you don't think about your butler friend. You don't think about your friend in the DA talking about Rachel. You've got a lot to lose. He says, what is it? So, you always fear, isn't it?
You don't understand.
And then it also points out about the judge, the senators and all that are sitting having drinks with the hookers, and that's fear you can't buy.
It just enforces that the city is his city, you know what I mean? That's it. There's nothing you can do, sort of thing. And then plus, I think, see after that, I think that's what launches him into. Because at first, you see Bruce, he's in prisons and all this, and you're going, why is he doing this? But you see it, that meeting, he doesn't understand these people. So he has to practically go live among them.
I mean, Jacat says to him later on, you done that to learn about the criminal element in the world and their thinking, what makes them tick and stuff like that. So I'd have used the internet myself, you know.
I'd have stuck on the wire or something with the shield.
The Falcone scene is followed up by another tremendous scene as well, because at the time you think it's just nothing, but it's very poignant when he goes out. He decides, right, I'm getting out of here. The homeless guys at the fire, throws in his credit cards, his scarf. I think the homeless guy took the scarf as well. You know what I mean? And gives him the money. And he's just about to put his coat in. He goes, whoa, nice coat.
Boris the Blade.
What's that, him?
Aye, Boris the Blade,
that, but I can't find him. On his filmography, I can't find Lock, Stock in it.
Snatch.
Nah, that's fine.
You've snatched the films there. See what I've done there?
That's why I never laughed. That's how.
This is a theme.
He says to me anyway, doesn't he? Says, listen, be careful who's using that coat because they're going to come looking for me. Who? Everyone.
Gucci.
Aye. And then he does the campest run into Gotham that I've ever seen in my life.
Brilliant, man.
Just runs away. I'm leaving Gotham. I can hear a boat. But when he runs away, every time he runs away, we'll talk about it all day, I just go, run away, run away.
Run away, run away.
Life of Brian. So we hark back to League of Shadows. It's graduation day.
See the way they done all that training as well, by the way. But other Batman films, he's just adept at appearing and sneaking and jumping at the shadows and all this. But it's that it goes into details, like hanging on beams and stuff with the equipment. Like the Batman thing, I know, mind he's got things. He's always had the wee things. Aye, but it finally explained to him. See any other what are they for? And sure enough, it's a wee anchor point.
Aye, I thought it was just nice and draggy. Draggy, but you make a good point about the training, because they didn't oversaturate the training montage. It was just enough. It was like 5 seconds and 10 seconds each different thing he done. And see when he's fighting, he's learning the ways of the samurai with the cat at the ice. I don't know where that was filmed. I never looked, but
Iceland.
Was it Iceland?
Aye, and see how you can hear the cracks. That's because it is actually cracked.
Oh, that was amazing! Just the big jaggy slopes at ice and stuff.
They were hanging when they were out there filming. It was thawing, so see when they were out there doing the filming, there was like one day there was 10 of them, and then because the ice was getting thinner, there was 8 of them. Then it was just like down to like they fell on the ice, and you see when you hear the cracks and all that. They filmed that, then the next day that ice was gone.
Oh,
so, I know that's plenty of danger money in that there.
Aye, and then obviously Jacat's fighting them as well and gives them the trigger words. And it wasn't your fault. Your parents died. It was your father's. Oh, you bastard! Oh, I get you.
You don't know about that. You don't know what he'll die.
Amazing. But we get back to the League of Shadows fucking base or whatever it is, and it's graduation day, as I said. He's just about to graduate. He finds out there and then by who he thinks is Ra's al Ghul and Jacat that he's being trained to lead the League of Shadows. He's the next Ra's al Ghul, because a lot of people think Raz is just one guy's name. It's the top kiddie in the League of Shadows will always be Raz.
Aye, the demon's head. That's what it means, isn't it?
Well done. I remember Fiaro, I bet you.
See?
You cut off the snake's head, one will appear. Aye. But the guy
who... a long face and a pretty cock.
The guy who he thinks is Ra's al Ghul, Ken Watanabe, isn't it? He's get one of their voices as well, and even though it's broken English, just
see that language he's talking. That language he's talking. He totally made that up on the spot.
Really?
That's not even a real language. That's how obviously Chris Nolan, he uses since Batman, he's practically used all the actors in all his films since, and he was that impressed with him there. That's how we ended up in Inception and all these other things.
Aye.
Which I just thought was amazing, man.
Aye.
But I think it's an old ancient language, you know what I mean?
Aye, when they're speaking English, it's just that ancient Chinese, listen to me because I'm wise as fuck voice. You will lead these men. That's brilliant. And I actually didn't notice Ken Watanabe way back in the day, but obviously, as you say, you've seen him so many films since. A great actor, man. Absolutely brilliant. But his final test to become the leader of these men is to take the life of a criminal without trial. You know what I mean? They want his head cut off, basically, don't they?
That's it. And again, draws his line in the sand. How he's going to be a good guy. There you go. I see what you've done there.
Aye.
But aye, definitely. It's just enhances again that he's a good guy. He's never going to cross that line.
Aye. He tells him as such, doesn't he? He says, I will not kill this. I'll go back to Gotham and I will fight for Gotham and I'll do it, but I'm not doing it your way.
Yep, definitely, man. And it's just you're seeing before then, you always thought like Batman was just like a kind of jokey sort of thing. But that was showing you there's more character than just behind I'm going to stop these people doing bad things. You know what I mean? He believes it right down to his core.
As you say, it's not just... See, a lot of people get mixed up with superhero movie and comic book movie. And I've never seen Batman as a superhero.
No.
I've always seen him as what the police portray him, but also as a hero. So he is a vigilante, definitely. But he's a hero because he'll stand up and do what the police can't. He can go places the police can't. He can get to people the police can't. And he can help the police. He's a hero, but he's not a superhero. He's no, can he fly? Can he laser beam out his eyes? Can he shake golden bricks? You know what I mean? he's a guy with an endless amount of money that does things that are doable.
Aye, definitely. As well, no what to talk about the other films on it, but it later does inspire other people to try it. But obviously, what makes him different to the other people is the training in this film.
Aye, exactly. He's been trained to know probably every kind of fighting style there is, the weapons that he's using, the kind of theatricality and the ninja style, stealth. All these things can be taught and learned. Plus, to talk about his gadgets, they're no gadgets, they are pieces of equipment that were designed for a purpose, for the army, whatever, stuff like that.
That's the thing. Apparently, all the stuff he uses in this film, excluding the Batmobile, is all actually real stuff, including the cape. They had to be shown how to use that. The British Army Ministry of Defence or whatever it was.
Right. Okay.
It's not for that purpose, but it's like a camouflage thing or whatever it is. But it's hitting him the reality that it's everything he uses in the film is real. Obviously, his wee batlines or
even imagine that. I mean, imagine that kind of that material that solidifies with a current through it. Right, that's his cape. I mean, if you were going camping, you had a tent that you could fold up and put in your pocket. You know what I mean? Brilliant. So,
amazing one.
Got the sword. He's kidding on. He's going to take the guy's life, but Disney sets a fire. It all kicks off. Before we know it, the house is up in flames. Ken Watanabe's get the roof on top of him. He's dead, and Ducat is on the snow outside. They get blown outside, didn't they?
Aye, right out onto a cliff's edge, and just his first act of heroism, isn't it? Saves a guy that, again, that's how I think he sees him. He's like he's dad again. You know what I mean? Because he saves this guy. Maybe doesn't agree with his thing, or is that just the beginning yet? He doesn't agree with him, but he's not nice with the person.
Later in the film, the two different scenarios. That scenario there, he felt he had to save him.
Aye,
very good. But see the way he does it. Again, go back to the gloves. Anchor himself. MD Elsie's arm would have been at the bottom of that cliff, wage a cat. That is, can you imagine the whole body like that with a guy's weight there, and he still manages to get him up. So I still win. Thinking I should have popped it, but it takes him back to the wee man. He makes the wee man in the cliff again, doesn't he?
Come back. Imagine that guy, right? He's told this guy to come back because he knows it's a bad place. This guy then comes back after blowing the place up with the top boy. You know what I mean? Well, talk about a thankless gift.
Aye, I know. Must have been like 3 days ago. You looked freezing, cold, nothing. Now you've just blew up the League of Shadows.
Your hair's done nice and all there.
Aye, exactly. Came down the mountain and went, completed, done it. Next.
Brilliant, man.
He's got
leaving an unconscious bad guy there. You know what I mean? What's the first thing that guy's going to wake up and go like that? I'm not leaving you alive.
No, definitely. So he leaves Ducat with the villager, shall we say, and he's obviously arranged for Alfred to come and get him in the private jet, and that's when the plans hatched into it. Him and Alfred are on the plane going back to Gotham. He's telling Alfred about his plan, what he's wanting to do, what he's wanting to do for Gotham. Alfred, and the way Michael Caine can only do it, tells him about the company's safe because he's got all the shares in his name. Bruce has done that before he left.
Aye. You can. What is it? It says you can borrow the rolls if you want.
Aye.
It's brilliant, man.
Absolutely brilliant.
It's just it shows a different relationship again. You see the other Batman films, he loves Alfred and all that stuff, but that way you can kind of see merit sort of thing.
Aye.
Brilliant, man.
Yeah, actually, they're pally, they respect one another. There is good back and forth between them. We one-liners, I say Michael Caine delivers them brilliant, but it says to him on the plane, he's got to become more. He can't do it as Bruce Wayne. It's just impossible. His dad tried it, obviously couldn't do it. So he's got to be a symbol. He's got to be something more.
Talking about Michael Caine and all, see when he originally signed up to do the film, he thought he was signing up to do a gangster film because they wanted to keep this.
Well,
they wanted to keep it secret, right? So see all the scripts they sent out. It wasn't doing as Batman Begins. It was doing as Imitation Game.
Oh.
Everybody got a script or whatever before it was an Intimidation Game.
Is that Intimidation or is it Intimation Game?
And it's one of them. It's one of them. But because it was that secret. See, the whole film, the script and all that, it was all wrote in Christopher Nolan's garage, and they built the wee mini sets and everything.
Aye.
It's just that secret stuff.
Absolutely brilliant. So they get home anyway, don't they? And this is our first kind of look at the Batcave before it becomes a Batcave.
See, that was a good how they done that as well, because it was all real up to this, right? Then see, I've had this look back to the Stand By Me. Young boys and that have always had these arguments, but I would always say, how does Nathan know who Batman is? I mean, somebody's got to went in there and helped build the Batcave. That's what I mean. God.
Aye.
Not really.
They've alluded to the fact that back in the day it was used to get soldiers to and from things with the mining shaft and the lift and all that's already there. But you're right, they've got to get power in there, they've got to get lights on. I know you haven't done it, but
it's just so you just think, let's see the old ones. Like everything's like bat shaped, the big massive computer and all that. And they don't know who is Batman, and you've got to have a couple of wee workies sit there like that. Did that Bruce boy want a big bat mirror?
Aye.
You know what I mean?
It's something I think of Superman 3, and they're in the bottom of the Grand Canyon, they're building a supercomputer, and they're reading after the back of fag packets and stuff, and it's all workies. What about this bit? Over there, put it over there. Can't imagine a wee team doing in the Batcave. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. Masons and all that, just chipping away at stuff.
That must have been murder to get a delivery into. Jesus Christ.
It was just the way they done that, because I was like, just expecting another elaborate Batcave where he's got a podium where his motor comes out and spins round and all this. You know what I mean? What? Whereas this way, it was pure rustic. It's just
exactly. And you see him and Alfred ordering the two parts that will make up the cowl. And I tell them, I've ordered a large amount to avoid suspicion. How many? About 10,000. And that look, at least we'll have spares. So we know the mask's going to be sorted, but he's still got a bat suit. And that's when he goes in to see Mr. Errol, who's running the company anyway. Mr. Errol, I call Mr. Errol, Rutger Hauer, sends him down to Lucius.
Blade Runner.
I know, I meant to say it when you said it earlier on, but Guinness guy, I call him, because he used to do all the Guinness ads back in the day. But Mad Rutger sends him down to Applied Sciences to see Lucius Fox, and that's another good bit of chemistry between him and Morgan Freeman. Yeah. And when Morgan Freeman switches the lights on, and you just see this vast chasm. Do you know what I mean? It's the size of the building with all sorts of goodies that are just lining drawers and lining cupboards and stuff.
Because it was the running joke, wasn't it? How does Batman have all these gadgets and nobody else does? And it just, again, that's simple. Just explains it for him. It's there.
Exactly. However, we think small things that he does himself is great as well. I mean, he gets the Kevlar suit for Lucius, saying it's for spelunking, for cave diving and stuff. But he takes that back to the Batcave and he sprays it himself black. The batarangs, well, they're not really batarangs, they're like ninja stars that are shaped like bats. You see him doing it himself on a grinder and stuff. So he's no shy of getting his hands dirty to do stuff himself, which is great. And then he cuts the belt, takes the harness off the belt just to make that. And he's got the gas-powered grappling gun and all that sort of thing. But I've got to think that he's either designed his own or he's stole their gloves for the League of Shadows.
Definitely, mate.
Big Jack. But after he's got the shotgun and stuff like that, then obviously his cowl's not arrived because he goes out, doesn't he? And he's got a balaclava on.
That's a good scene, I know, because it goes to Gordon first with his partner. And again, it's just showing you like Gordon isn't corruptible sort of thing, and just shows you how fucked the city is, because even the Poles are taking protection money after ropes and stuff. But again, when you see it, when he goes, we're all hoping that you take a test because you make us all nervous, and he's Gordon, I'm no rat. Affronted by it, know what I mean? But even still, doesn't want to be called a grass. There's something in that there. But
it's I wonder why Gordon never took a bullet. Like, if he's the only one you think gets shot at him, he's dodgy. You know what I mean?
But so, like he says, who can he tell? Because the whole city's at it, sort of thing. But then it goes to his office, Gordon's office, and obviously Batman's stuck in behind him. Thinks he's been held hostage and all that. This is before he's started right up. They'd be able to solve this out himself. Who does he need? And such like that. But see the line he says when he asks, are you just one man? And he says, no, we're two. What do you think he means by that? Do you think he means him and Gordon? Or does he mean Bruce and Batman are two different people?
I think that's subjective. That's totally how you want to think about it. I've never until this minute thought otherwise than him and Jim. But you make a good, valid point. It could be no, we're two. It could be just a wee.
I'm just thinking, because it's like the wheels are already in motion anyway for him to take back his company and all that. So I'm wondering if that's he's taking what Rachel said to him years ago. This city's falling apart since your mum and dad stopped doing what they were doing, and now he's becoming Batman. So I'm just wondering when he means no, we're two. Does it mean he's fighting it as Bruce and Batman?
That's a good way. No, I like it. It's a good way to look at it, mate. Definitely. So we've seen Fox there, done the spelunking, met Jim. See the way he jumps off that building?
Aye. Oh, that's a slogan.
Aye. So obviously this leads up to his next meeting with Fox, and that's where he sees the cape, first of all. It's obviously just material, put a current through it and it goes rigid. That's how it becomes his glider, bat cape, if you will. And then what's the other thing that he gets introduced to?
The Batmobile, mate, the Batmobile.
Aye.
Which is probably it's the coolest one, isn't it?
What's that? That? Oh, best isn't that?
It's definitely the coolest out of the, in my opinion anyway, out of all the Batmobiles.
Oh.
That includes the new unit. It's one of a kind.
It's just the way that post describes it later in the film. I'm facing a black tank.
It's brilliant, man. It's like it's always the centrepiece, isn't it?
Oh,
Everybody, you can't wait to see the Batmobile, and there it was.
that's it. Goes anywhere and does anything you want it to. Lucius tells him it was first designed to jump over voids, to build bridges and stuff. The bridge couldn't get to work, but these babies worked fine. A wee bit of trivia about the actual tumbler in all the films. What do you call him? Christian Bale never actually got a shot. He wasn't allowed anywhere near it. So it was built as well, but it was never allowed anywhere near it for insurance purposes. Although it is an active vehicle, apparently. It just, like Lucius says, the shell of the vehicle was put into production for the army, and it was never used. However, obviously Batman have put a couple more fins on it and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So there's a truth about it.
Definitely, man. It's just one of the coolest looking things about it, isn't it? Getting away with it.
And he gives him the ultimate line. He says, "What do you think? Does it come in black?" He's obviously sprayed that puppy as well.
Aye, definitely, man. Aye. That must have took a fair bit.
Aye, so he's got everything in place at this point. He's got his car, he's got the suit, the cape, and then obviously the cowls have came. DPD have delivered, or Yodel sent him his 10,000 cowls, and the next scene is here's Batman down at the docks.
Definitely, man. I see when you see all the techniques all coming up. You see all the wee crooks all getting terrified, and again, kind of puts a span on all the works. Everything that's probably went comfortable for years is now put in turmoil.
Aye.
And then he gets a Hoddy Falcone, doesn't he? And then he's that iconic.
Aye.
You want to do it? You want to do it,
Especially, he's down at the docks, he's taking care of all the henchmen. Falcone's very scared at this point in the back of his limousine, trying to load a shotgun. Here's the bang the roof. Gets a shot off, but misses him obviously in Batman's, drags him at the sunroof, grabs him up. What the hell are you? I'm Batman. Fucking Batman. Do you know what I mean? That's that moment.
It's just a wee nod to the films in the past and on. Batman.
Aye. But although being pedantic, obviously, but the criminal then says, "Who are you?" Falcone says, "What are you?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just me being a dick. As I like to be sometimes. So I've seen that anyway. Yeah, I've been doing it at docks, we've seen all that stuff. And then we find out about the microwave emitter, don't we?
Aye, how that's this new prototype weapon that it evaporates the water in an enemy's water system and stuff. So
turns water to gas, doesn't it?
Aye, that's it. Steam, so it becomes an inhalant or whatever it is. Obviously, like based on round about that time with like the desert warfare and all that one.
Aye, so that's been stolen for Wayne Enterprises. When Errol finds out, his first reaction is to go down and pull up Lucius about it, ask him questions, and then fire him. So that's a bit back to front. Do you know what I mean? So we're getting the plan at this time. We're getting the plan that something's happening. Made the microwave emitter. It's going to turn water to gas. What's the gas going to be? All the while, Falcone's getting this mystical drug into Gotham and things like that. There's a short bit in the hotel where Bruce has been Bruce Wayne, and he's in the hotel. He meets the two European birds.
I know. I think that was good enough. Even it shows that there's like another question: how do people ever think Bruce Wayne is Batman, sort of thing? And then you see it there that he's gave this impression. Oh, he's just he's a rich, arrogant, fucking idiot, practically. You know what I mean? And it was good how they done that and all. But
that's the disguise. That's what he had to learn to be. Again, without going too much into the future about the current one, he's not learned that yet, Robert Pattinson. But Bruce knows. I mean, I've always said that there's there's three Bruce Waynes, right? There's the one that died along with his parents. So whatever that young boy was going to aspire to be, died there and then with his mum and dad. There's a Bruce Wayne that left Gotham to go and find out about criminality and get trained. That was full of, the Bruce Wayne that was Batman left. But by the time he got back to Gotham, he knew that Bruce Wayne had to be something else. So Bruce Wayne had to be, as you said there, in everybody's eyes, a spoilt rich kid flinging his money about, not getting a monkeys about Gotham, that kind of thing. And that was the biggest turn off for Batman ever. Because, as you say, people would just go, him, Batman? Stupid.
Exactly, man. Aye. And then it bumps into Rachel as they're leaving. But you can see he wants to tell her, but he can't tell her, sort of thing.
What's funny is
it?
Swimming. Wow, you look. How are things? Just bought a hotel, you know what I mean?
I know. Aye. I remember it. See, at the time, somebody told me how much the hotel was valued or something. But apparently, it was like the likes he just spent like 14 million or something. That was it. Just away he went.
Even thought.
But I think it's hilarious and all, but to see the wee valet guys standing in there. He digs into his pocket for whatever it is, $1, and it'll be mush. You know what I mean? And he's like, aye, there you go. There's your bit.
Exactly. So then it cuts very quickly to Arkham. The police station, Gotham Police Station. We've got Falcone in there. Dr. Caine comes in. Falcone's basically trying to blackmail him. What are you going to do to stop me opening my mouth? And it's then we find out that Dr. Caine is the Scarecrow. Gasses Falcone.
And here's some trivia for you, mate. When they were auditioning for the roles of Batman, it was between Christian Bale and Cillian Murphy.
Aye.
And they done their auditions, and I think it was Val Kilmer's Batman suit. But Nolan liked Murphy that good. He thought he had a brilliant audition. He gave him the Scarecrow part. And also as well, apparently, but I didn't really notice this until I read something. Nolan was obsessed with Cillian Murphy's eyes. So see in the film, he wrote in excuses for him to always be taking his glasses off.
Aye.
So he'd be in his eyes. I'm like, what?
Well, I never knew the glasses thing. I read about it says it describes him as the most piercing blue eyes he's ever seen in his life, didn't he? And although you'd need to look for it, you can see how his character's been wrote into the film. It probably wasn't original, but he liked him that much and made a part for him. And it fucking brilliant.
This is the mind I was saying to you. I've got something that will blow your mind. Well, I didn't go to the pictures to see this film, right?
Right.
Because at the time there was rumours going about that it was going to be Batman 5 or Batman Unchained or Batman the Frightened. And it was going to be a continuation from Batman and Robin. So George Clooney says he wasn't doing it ever again, so they were going to get Kurt Russell. And the baddie was going to be Scarecrow, and it was going to be Nicolas Cage.
I can see Nicolas as a Scarecrow, but that part would never have been big enough for Nicolas Cage, ever.
But see what shot that's done is seeing like the fear sequences and stuff. They were going to bring back all the ex-baddies. So it would have had Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones, and Jack Nicholson as the Joker.
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
and it was going to have all them back in it. And that's what got it shut down. So see when I heard that the Batman film was coming out and the baddie was Scarecrow, I went, I'm not going to see that because this is going to be fucking garbage. There you go. I avoided this film. I didn't see this film until after I went to see The Dark Knight.
Right.
So
shows you done it. You shouldn't believe in your fucking reads. But
but the fact that it was all the same sort of thing, Scarecrow, Batman, fucking, I was like, oh no.
so then again, if that had ever happened, one, would there have been an origin film, and two, would have never had the fucking trilogy we had, definitely. Which point was a good thing to point out now, while Marvel especially are tapping right into the multiverse side of things, where Batman's concerned, although the spin-off series of Gotham is going to look into the multiverse, he's a better standalone character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even with Justice League, I just always thought, doesn't he play well with others, you know what I mean? And
that's it, mate.
Own character, and it's always been about that. The villains have always been exceptional. Batman's villains, I think, are the best villains out of all the comic book superhero films I can think of, to be honest with you. Because again, they're like him. They're no good superpowers. They're criminal masterminds, bordering on the edge of insanity.
No, definitely, man. He's definitely got the best baddie in the Joker. But Spider-Man would batter him, mate. We've already had this. He would batter him.
That's true.
That's what's criminal and all, by the way. See Willem Dafoe never playing the Joker. That is criminal, man.
I can definitely see it. Definitely see it. I thought he'd have made a great Joker, actually. Just timing,
100%.
innit?
Aye. That's the thing, man.
But after that, so Caine's gassed Falcone, sent him off his nut. And we directly go to, well, Batman's asked Jim a wee bit ago how he can find out what's happening and stuff like that. So Batman meets Mr. Flash. Flash is out getting his falafel and gets grapple hooked up to the top of the building. Where's the drugs going?
What else does he say to him? There's Hungry Flash. He tells him where all the drugs are, doesn't he? And then he goes after him. He swears, doesn't he?
Aye. Where's the drugs going? I don't know. I swear. Swear to me. And it's like that. It spills the beans there.
But see what always annoys me with that scene at all? But obviously, he's been took up, but see when he's talking, see the wee bit of falafel that he keeps spitting out when he's looking at that. Fucking bugs me, man.
Aye. I bet he still get down to the boat with a grand line in the puddle and went, oh.
Yeah.
That was traumatic, that.
Can that be got?
Aye. So Rachel's partner in the DA's office, he finds out there's a container nowhere it should be. The microwave emitters in there. And the two dock cans do them in. So Rachel's on her own trying to fight Gotham, or so she thinks, obviously. And that's where we see Batman. He's obviously got information off Flash. He's climbing the building to try and get these drugs. And we meet wee Joffrey.
I didn't know he was in this.
Aye, Joffrey, Game of Thrones.
There's another wee thing for you. Mind I was saying to you, there's a bit of merch on it. See that scene? See behind him on the washing line across the street. There's a pair of Batman pajamas hanging on the washing.
Really?
Huh?
Oh, I need to look for that now.
You see it? It's like trousers, and the white trousers, and it's got wee bats on it.
Wow, Jesus Christ. Yeah, look for that. But young Joffrey is out his balcony and he says, the other kids won't believe me. Batman could have just went, selfie. But no, he gives him whatever thousands of pounds worth of equipment that he's got in his hand. I don't know what it is. Has to fold it up anyway.
It's like a telescope, isn't it?
Aye, some sort of kind of telescope or listening device or something like that. And then he proceeds into the bay doors of the top flat where he finds the stuffed bunnies with the white powder, which everybody's thinking is cocaine or heroin or something, but it's not. And that's when Caine comes back with his henchman.
Aye, we're getting ready to torch the place, isn't they? Again, also leads me. I was hurling at us the other night when I popped it. Throwing petrol about this flat, right? And obviously Batman's in the flat. And he takes one of them out the game. But it's showing you that Caine's smart, so he's looked and he's seen that the veranda doors and that open.
You ducked it, didn't you?
I ducked out the way. But see when the light goes out and the other henchman goes looking for his pal. Now remember, they've just dumped petrol everywhere. Gets the lighter out.
Aye.
Looking for his pal. Oh.
See, I've thought further than that. Same kind of thing, right? I mean, Caine goes away, puts a mask on, surprises Batman, sprays the gas in his face. Batman starts hallucinating, seeing bats, getting scared. And then Caine says, how about a drink? You need to lighten up. So he pours whiskey or vodka over him, lights Batman. So Batman goes on fire in a house sodden in petrol. And the rest of the house sticks up with him. And again, I don't know what doing there. See when he goes out the balcony. So Batman's on fire, he's hallucinating, he's losing his mind. He directly falls about 4 stories.
Aye.
Without
Maybe
breaking.
maybe it's just the rubbish breaks his fall or something, maybe. Just
ricochet.
well, a wee show into society again. Fucking nobody runs and helps this guy on fire. You know what I mean? Just whip the phone out.
There was no John Smeaton back then to stick the boot in him. But just before he shit, gets to the top of the building with a grappling hook, phones Alfred.
One thing that annoys me: how does Alfred get him off the roof?
Yes. He just stole my question for you. How? Exactly.
How's his gaff? He's clearly hot a badging, you know what I mean? So
Alfred, I've took a bad eckie. Can't get down these stairs. Going to drive the Rolls Royce up to the roof.
I'll hold my cake while I'm sick.
Aye.
Oh, no, but just one thing annoyed me. But it has annoyed me if you have seen it. How does he get off the roof? You know what I mean?
You're right. And after that happens, it's 2 days later, isn't it?
Aye. And he wakes up like his hut, I imagine. Or like me after an old firm game.
Before an old firm game.
Aye, that's true.
So he wakes up to find Alfred's making him some japs for his hangover. He goes, you've been out for a while. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. Bruce is like, how long was I out? It's like 2 days. And then out of the shadows in his bedroom, Lucius appears. You just see Bruce looking as if to say, the fuck's he doing here, man?
Aye. It's like, again, I think that's where he becomes another ally sort of thing. He doesn't tell him what's going on, but he's like, the kind of joke, because he said to him before, don't think of me as an idiot sort of thing. He's like, aye.
Right. In there. So I don't have to lie, but don't think him as an idiot. That's right.
He's like, aye, well, you're at a nightclub and somebody's passing about a weaponised hallucinogen.
Know how it goes.
Know what I mean?
But in that, because of circumstance and because of where Batman wants to get to, it's kind of took the decision out his hand, because Lucius is always going to be pivotal to anything Batman does, because he's as much an aid to Batman, if no more so than Alfred, you know what I mean?
But apparently, Morgan Freeman says he was a massive fan of the Batman comics and all that, but didn't know the character he was playing.
Right. I'm not as in depth with the comics as you've been with Batman, but I know Lucius is he's pivotal, but he's no all the time there. You know what I mean? He's now and again when they need to explain something or something like that. He was portrayed really well in Gotham. The guy that played him in Gotham done him really well. He was still the technical whiz kid, but he didn't really. It wasn't Batman's aid then, because Batman was still a boy, but he was there, and you seen his role that he played in the series and that, and it was pretty good. So that was that. What happens next? Oh, Rachel comes to the door, doesn't she?
She comes to the door and gives you a wee flashback to the old childhood, and there's your gift. But then gets the phone call about Falcone losing his marbles, didn't he?
Aye.
And she's not having it. It's because it's became a running theme, isn't it? Anybody that gets jailed, Caine says they're insane, and they don't go to prison, they go to Arkham, which is probably a better place to hang out. But we also seen that at near the start of the film as well, with Falcone's assassin, Victor Zsasz, who's played by somebody you just found out about that.
The lead singer of, for all our American friends, a British band called James. You probably know their songs and not know them. Tim what? Tim Howard? No, that's a goalkeeper.
Tim Booth.
Tim Booth, sorry, the lead singer of James. And I never knew that Victor Zsasz was in this film at all.
No.
But I think the only time you see him is when the prisoners at Arkham are getting let out later in the film, and he's the first one. But I would have just imagined it was Baldy Inmate. I didn't know it was Victor Zsasz, because Zsasz is a huge deal in the Bataverse.
Aye. Yep, exactly. Aye. I think that's again just hitting home a wee bit of realism. You know what I mean? That he's just a mad murderer.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Because we move on with later in the film, the level of criminal that did escape for Arkham at that time, and they're still no found. They're like, aye. So, I mean, they maybe done that with a thought of bringing Zsasz in again, but obviously it wasn't used. Yeah. And again, he was portrayed brilliant in Gotham, Victor Zsasz character, the number one hitman in all of Gotham, and he couldn't hit shit.
Well, that reminds me of something off, but as we go on, I'll say.
Moving on. So Rachel basically says, look, happy birthday, but my boss is missing, which probably means that I should start phoning around mortuaries when he leaves. Right away, Bruce is, I need to go again, and Alfred's reminding him it's your birthday and all that. You've got a name to live up to, those are Bruce Wayne's guests and all that kind of stuff. But he buggers off again. Where does he go?
I don't know. It's been to the Batcave, mate, to get his kit on, isn't it?
Aye.
So then they follow Rachel in Arkham.
Mm-hmm.
So she obviously sees Falcone, this person that's never had any history of mental health issues and stuff, and she's not having it. She thinks it's still an act, and she wants her in. But by this point, there's been a couple of meetings between the two, and Caine's had enough of her sort of thing. So instead of taking her up to the exit, he takes her down to the basement. Just to go, this is it.
And that's where the plans really divulge, because he says, I want to show you how the medicine's made. So it's then we realised that this drug that's been getting brought in, this mystery drug's getting put into the Gotham water supply for weeks and weeks and weeks. So you think to yourself, microwave emitter's going to turn whatever's in there into gas. Oh, shit's going to break loose. And we know it's the little blue flavour, isn't it?
Yeah. Aye, because it had any tipple at all. See that stuff? No. See watching it? It's just, with the fear toxin and all that, just did not tipple at all. Not even at that point either. It wasn't until obviously later on Ra's al Ghul says Caine perfects it, weaponises it, and I'm going, oh hi.
Aye. I got it a wee bit earlier on. Must be that same stuff. Can I think because surely Liam Neeson's coming back into it. And that's basically what happens. So Caine overdoses Rachel in the warehouse. Batman appears, and pretty good fight scene there as well.
And this shows a bit of his training, like the whole thing again.
See when it's
everybody.
Yeah, he grabs the guy with the gun and he just like disappears backwards up into the shadows. It was just like the Arkham game, wasn't it, man?
Aye, it was, man. It was like, I've done that. But then he poisons Caine with his own mixture, didn't he? See, I don't know if that then sends him falling off his nut.
See, when Caine sees Batman as Demon Batman with the black bar coming out his mouth. No, that's fucking brilliant, man.
It's like an acid flashback, mate.
Great. It was absolutely point, so it was. As much as well, just before that, when Rachel's been gassed and Caine's talking to her with the mask on, and see the maggots all pouring out his eyes and his mouth and stuff. You're like, oh, more of this, please.
It's good what they've done with fear talks and stuff. See, as it goes on, it gets more frightening sort of stuff. Because that is, I mean, it's a major thing in Batman. The whole fear talks and thing and all that.
That's it. And it's your own ultimate fear as well. It brings that out in you, doesn't it? Because obviously done that with Bruce, with the bats and stuff back in the day. So we get Rachel out. We get Rachel out. I was not today, I wasn't there. Batman gets driving her back to Wayne Manor to get the antidote, and she's obviously losing her mind, and that's when Batman decides to shout at the top of his voice to somebody sitting like 2 inches away from him. Rachel! Oh, I'm here, mate. I'm here. All right. You can't do this.
Before that, I also seen he does the thing to call the bats, and it adds the mystique to Batman. That was just brilliant and all, by the way. So you think he's just a man and all that. Then that stuff would just throw doubt into people. It was then obviously, but it's unseen. But then sees he's cutting through the cells and all, blowing the doors open through a wall. Excuse me, and these two wee nutters are like that.
Aye.
You see that?
one of them's a Scottish actor. It failed me what he's in, but he's kind of a bit part in 100 films, isn't he? But you're right, mate. I don't know how I forgot that. I forgot to highlight that, but I say that be thing you just.
That's when you see the finished article that is the Batmobile one off. That's when you first see it on black. And the big car chase in it, which again was brilliant. It's brilliant how we've done some of that and all.
Before you see
the bit where it goes all black.
Before you see the bats as well, and everybody's what's that noise? And Jim says, "What is that?" Back up.
Wait, there's this. I was about to say, it's just pure killer spot, man. See the way they've done them all the way through the film. It's just laid on extra layers of cool to everything. You know what I mean?
Even the way he describes a car, he says, "We'll take my car." He's like, "Your car." Oh, I got to get me one of those.
And it's probably something everybody fucking said, and the cinemas and all that. Oh, that's amazing looking. But again, the chase in the Batmobile, obviously the Polish trying to catch him, brilliant. See just the bit jumping through the roof and all that as well.
Don't get
amazing, man.
Again, bit in the back of him and his own church roofs and all that, but this 6-ton fucking tank thing. They're like, there's no way he's fucking not getting through that. But it's an awesome scene when he's getting chased, and just again the cinematography, the music, the build-up. I went to see it in the pictures, and I can still remember feeling like I did last week with the new film, that feeling the car through you know that was absolutely amazing. But a great scene, man.
It's brilliant that see a bit it goes to stealth, and it just goes pure black, and then pulls into the shadows. I just thought that was brilliant and all. This big massive thing can just disappear, and then again just added to the mystique it all. It was brilliant, man.
There's no first does it in the Dark Knight as well, didn't it? Right at the start.
Tremendous, man.
But she gets Rachel back to Wayne Manor, gets her the antidote, and then tells her, "This is the stuff you need, the photographs and stuff, incriminating evidence. Next time you wake up, you'll be in the house. Give that to Jim," and all that kind of stuff. And then he goes up to his birthday party. He's 30.
30, man. 30. He goes up there after being Batman, just to pure switch a character. You know what I mean? Talks to Fox again, didn't he?
Yes.
And that's when he tackles that the microwave emitter thing has been stole, and that's we'll need to get on to make me this antidote stuff. But every movie goer, if you're finds out what's happening, and very quickly moves on to him getting introduced to a guest. How is your name, Mr. Raz Al Ghul? Just a Chinese.
You're not Ra's al
I
Ghul.
know.
I watched him die.
Again, it's just the way they've done that. See the training that Ra's al Ghul gave him, and he still has to. You put wee distractions there to conceal your true identity and all that. Then again, it's just that's a good scene and all, man. See the way they talk about everything. What we've tried to destroy Gotham before and stuff.
Aye.
And I thought that was brilliant, man. See the way you're always thinking about them just destroying it and all that, but he's like, what methods have got more civilized through the years and using economics and all that, and you're going, that's fucking evil as fuck, by the way. Just
but it's like
the
kind of underhand census you don't know about, you know what I mean? Just, as they say, culling the herd or something like that, thinning the herd, do you know what I mean? To start again. Because that makes me think as well, see Liam Neeson's character, Raz, although his methods are probably not correct, I don't think him as a bad guy. I think he's doing the same thing as Bruce does on a different level, a different set of rules. He believes what he's doing is the right thing for the people of Gotham that are worthy to stay and for the human race as a whole. And he just thinks that he is, as I said there, thinning the herd, start again, you know what I mean? And he also admitted earlier in the film that he's came for tragedy. He lost his great love and his child. So he was born out of a bad place, just like Bruce was. And I think, as you said, that's why Bruce has a lot of respect and a lot of kind of admiration as well.
I see when Liam Neeson's talking about losing his family and that, he never says they were killed or whatever. He goes, they were taken. Like that. A wee nod to his other film, I reckon.
Aye. But we also find that two films into the trilogy who his family were. You know what I mean? Which I never seen coming. And Dark Knight Rises. No,
not at all, man. What did I say there? Yeah. I just that whole in any Batman, like Bruce Wayne saying, "Yeah, your quarrels with me, it's not with any of these people and all that." So, because Raz and that won't care, they'll just do everybody in. But he says to them, "You can make them leave if you want." And then again, it reinforces this thing that he's willing to sacrifice his reputation to like, save other people, sort of thing.
Aye.
But then he doesn't mind doing that, right? Being made to look like the idiot and all that. But it's when see the other guy says to him, "The apple's falling far from the tree." He gets hurt again.
Aye.
You're going.
Aye, because you can tell there's a bit of him going like, it makes you think again about the Rachel thing, about how he wants to tell her when he's in the pool swimming, look, I'm fucking kidding on here, I'm a good, you know what I mean? But you can see it does physically hurt him, especially his father's mentioned. So I always felt that scene and all, Raz was getting one last chance. Look, fucking, we're going to do this with or without you. Bruce obviously stands his ground. The henchmen start the fires, wreck the house. Him and Raz have a bit of back and forth. He says again, he never did learn to mind your surroundings, and a beam falls and Bruce knocks him out.
I think because he walks out. What was it? He finishes it. You burned Mahiston and left me for dead.
Aye. So that wee guy on the mountain never told him that he saved his life. He's probably woke up and goes like that. I seen you there, mate. You weren't looking too clever, and I brought you in and gave you soup and that. How did I get doing here? I know what you're doing. It's all right, mate.
No, I mean, a pure turn for the works. See that wee guy that was in the village? See if he would have appeared at the mansion.
Aye.
And he was Ra's al Ghul, you know what I mean?
Or else to background, like setting fire to the curtains and stealing hors d'oeuvres at the same time, you know what I mean? You got a job at it. I saved the big guy's life there, he owes me that big guy. Yeah, little bastard, you. But it's a great point, man. It is. I never left you for dead. What are you talking about? Brilliant.
That bit just comes in takes, see that it's just funny. His wee lines all the way through this film are funny, isn't they? See the bit he takes the guy out with the golf club. And he goes, "Oh, I hope you're not a part of the fire brigade." Waddles in, and he's obviously he's got this big beamer close to him, it's on fire, right? And the place is in fucking turmoil. Everything's on fire. This is 40 bits, and he can't get this log off. And he's like, "What's the point in doing all the push-ups if you can't lift a bloody log?" And it's just the way Bruce looks at him. Like,
it's so cheeky, man. The fucking do you know what I never realised last night as well? Till I watched it for the fucking 40th time. I never even realised last night. I started thinking, where was Alfred? But he was taking Rachel back, wasn't he? So he's just appeared back at the house, carnage. Whereas I used to think where he was. Where was he? Was he didn't make the tea or something? I don't know, but he's just back for it.
He's just came back. Like, your mum and dad came back to holding. You've got an empty place is upside down.
So in Gotham at the time, there's a bit of carnage. The police are involved, stuff like that. Decide to raise all the bridges. Rachel's met Jim, gave him the antidote, didn't she? Just told him to use it, hopes he doesn't have to use it and stuff. Tells him the plot. And that's when you see Raz on the balcony with a couple of his henchmen. He's just about to go on the train. Bruce has obviously appeared by this time. That's a great scene as well. Just the way he lands on the balcony and then covers himself.
This is your creation. This is the big standoff sort of thing. But even then, Razzle goes like that. So you took my advice literally, like taking the cunt out of him for the suit. Know what I mean?
Brilliant man.
Brilliant man. And at that time, all the inmates have escaped from Arkham. So they've sent all the police and arrows and they've raised all the bridges. So the criminals can't get off the island sort of thing. So it's easy to round them up. But it's actually a trap. And it shows you how intelligent this planned all the way through it, practically.
Yeah. And genius as well that they've used Thomas's creation, which is the train to help the poor, go all the way through the centre of the city with this microwave emitter, turns it on, and as it goes, it's turning the water to gas, the water's turned to gas, and the people and the prisoners are getting gassed and obviously starting to lose their mind. And again, another pernickety thing, if that turns water into gas, why are humans not getting trapped down deep because they're 70% on their body?
Just before that again, Alfred uses that line again. Why do we fall, Bruce? So we can learn to pick myself back up again. So it's just enforcing that. You're doing, but you can still do it.
It takes away Bruce's jacket and you see Bruce is badly injured. But it doesn't get referenced at all in the rest of the film.
No.
I
thought that myself. I thought that was going to be like a pivotal bit in like a fight or whatever, but it just deleted scene or something like that.
Never prominent. But it's quite good and all. I mean, the cat slows him down a little bit by the fight with the henchman. He says, "I can take 2 of your pawns." Oh, very well. Another 2.
Meanwhile, he's turned this emitter on, isn't he? And it started releasing the gas. So this way island has been going after its nut. Everybody's practically trying to eat each other and all that. But this is what I was going to say to you earlier, right? So obviously the second film, Joker's in it. Do you think the release of that gas created the Joker in the next film? Because up to that point, he does nothing really.
He's
and then Joker's on the
great in it though.
And then the Joker's on the scene. And was he one of them that was in Arkham Asylum and escaped? And that's how he's not done anything.
Aye. Because as you say, at the very end, when he reads out his rap sheet, it's no that size. He's done a couple of things, grand theft, larceny, kind of standard bad guy. But why is he in Arkham in the first place? Because Arkham's meant to be mental. And when we find out in the next film and all that he's got no ties to any criminal organisation like Falcons or stuff like that. So he was put in there for a reason. So although you've got a point, I think Joker's Joker, but that gas has maybe just heightened his fucking mental state. And he's maybe made that getting the antidote, as you say.
Yeah. So I just thought that because he just never really appeals up to that point, and like you say, his rap sheet's non-existent. And then after that incident, he goes with that to top loony. Know what I mean?
Very true.
Because you see with Caine, he's level-headed and all that, and then he gets poisoned, and then he loses the heat a bit. Know what I mean?
Aye.
He's not the articulate. He ends up running about with a sack on his head on a horse and all that. Know what I mean?
Aye, and he gets electrocuted in the face. Batman's before that as well. He's gave Jim the keys to the tumbler. Says, "Can you drive stick?" Tells him to get end the railway line and fucking blow it away. But after the fight with the shadow henchman, Bruce is in Gotham. Everybody's starting to lose their mind to see him as a mad devil guy with light coming out his eyes, and they all just crowd around him and want to tear him apart. But he's just got the wherewithal to grapple onto the train and then do a bit of train surfing for a few blocks.
I know. Okay. Aye. Meanwhile, this obviously that machine's on the train. So as he's going, everything's popped off. This steam's all through the city. It's not just in arrows, but it just shows you how good Gordon is enough that he was able to master that Batmobile with all these screens and all that. You know what I mean? Have you ever had a new phone?
Aye, and he looks a bit old school, you know what I mean?
Aye.
The Batman's grabbing comes in the window, and it's the penultimate him and Raz face off fight. After a bit of dialogue, they go at it. And then it eventually leads to Bruce being able to say to him, "You never did mind your surroundings," and gets him.
The music through that bit I know is brilliant, by the way. Just pure builds up and the tension and everything. That's the French horns that boy's in.
Bruce blows out the window, blows out the back of the train, and says to Raz, "I don't have to save you." It makes you think back to the mountainside. He says, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. But I think that's a stupid line anyway, because you did kill him by no saving him.
See, that's I don't know how you could just pick it the film, right?
Your code's a bit fucked up there, Bruce, mate.
He hangs. The front of that train gets blew off, right? And it continues to go on underneath the Wayne Enterprise building and all that.
I know what you're going to say.
So does it technically just blow the hub anyway?
Aye. So, exactly right. So, by the way, she's exited for the train for the cape and that. Brilliant. Raz has accepted his fate, shut his eyes, train goes off the tracks, down, and instead of going into Wayne Tower, it goes under Wayne Tower, I would imagine, right? Taking out about 100 pillars that hold up Wayne Tower. How's that not coming down?
I know. Oh, here, by the way, we forgot a big bit. When Batman gets into the Narrows, Rachel's there and she's protecting wee Joffrey. And all these killers are coming towards them, Zaz and all that. But Batman appears, saves them, and takes them up to a balcony. So Rachel can see that all this is chaos and all this. And this guy that she doesn't know, well, she thinks she doesn't know, is Batman. He's got to save the day, sacrifice himself and all that. So before he leaves, she asks him who he is. But instead of going...
All right, I'm dead. How you doing?
Instead of going, I'm Bruce.
It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me. And then she's like, "Yeah, bastard, Bruce, how you doing? You fine? Fuck
You see what I was laughing at there? Has he done that because that wee boy's there? He can't say I'm Bruce, right? So he says that, and then this stupid bastard then goes, Bruce? Just undoing the whole thing. Just
Wee Joffrey knows.
That'd be mystical. Aye.
Wee Joffrey knows the score.
Fucking amazing, by the way.
That is.
But see when that happens, that's goosebump stuff, because then the music starts and all that, and it's this heroic thing again, and you're just like, that man's going to do the business.
Aye. That's excellent, man. It's the selflessness that saves Gotham. As you said earlier, he's prepared to put yourself before anybody. Doesn't matter if you're a beggar. Doesn't matter if you're that wee guy with a nice coat, who we forgot to mention again at the docks.
Sure.
Nice coat. Thanks. But basically, that's it. Batman saves the day. Gotham's safe once again. And we go to the prologue of the film, where we go to Wayne Towers, and Arrow turns up to find that Fox is kind of run the company. Get on here.
Aye, guys. Walks in like that. What's this meeting all about? Yeah, because he still thinks he's the head honcho. He's running this show. And Fox tells him that he's got his job now. And he obviously phones Bruce to find out what the script is, because they're taking the company public and stuff. So, but what they don't know is Bruce has used all these wee companies to buy his company back. But at the time, when he's in charge, Bruce is asking about his company, but he kind of paws him off like he's an idiot. It's all very technical and all that. You just don't need to worry, the company's safe. So when he gets his own back, his revenge, he uses the same line on him.
Brings it back to the same saying. It has a wee laugh. I'd like to think that was just ad-libbed. It wasn't a party. It's all a bit technical. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And then plus, when this guy was in charge, he gave Fox pelters and says to him, "Did you not get the memo?" After he says he's getting sacked. So a wee bit of revenge for Fox as well, because he says to him, "You didn't get the memo."
That's it. So after that, we're back at what's left of Bruce, Wayne Manor, sorry. And Bruce is there wearing a nice sky blue top and a pair of chinos and a fucking...
Place is in absolute bits.
Exactly. And there is two builders there. I've seen two builders in a bit of digging. But that's quite a big giant crew, you would think. And then him and Rachel, obviously, it's the first time they've met since she's found out that he's Bruce. And she more or less tells him, "Listen, I love you, but no will you're Batman."
That's it. I think it's like starting off with a lie, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is quite funny, because it's usually the hero that...
that says...
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, right? It's usually the hero that says, "I can't be with you. It's too dangerous. I love you too much." Whereas Bruce didn't think about that. Do you know what I mean? He thinks, "I've got a mask, it's cool." She's like, no will you're Batman. Because she's obviously thinking, "I couldn't be in every night without you wondering what's happening to you, knowing what you're doing," and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And it's a great segue into The Dark Knight with the Harvey Dent thing and stuff like that. Because she's obviously no waiting on him.
Mm-hmm. Aye, definitely. It's just that thing. It's the hero has to sacrifice stuff again.
But Katie Holmes as Rachel Dawes. I like Katie Holmes, right? I do not mind Katie Holmes. I think she's a good actress and stuff in certain things. And I don't think she's done a terrible job of playing Rachel Dawes, but there's something about me that doesn't believe that Rachel Dawes is for Gotham. She's far too clean and country, and see, every time she smiles, she just turns into that lassie for Dawson's Creek.
Well, I know Dawson's Creek, so...
No, but see, you're waking up on a Sunday and a hangover, and E4 used to go on. That's my excuse. And Maggie Gyllenhaal, who played Rachel in the next movie, where she's a New Yorker by trade, so she's more believable. She looks a bit more chiseled and battle scarred. Do you know what I mean? She's more believable as being a warrior.
That was another person that tried it for Batman. Jake Gyllenhaal. He tried it for his Batman as well. Yep.
He's a moody bastard, isn't he? He's been actually not too bad.
But that's what I see. But this film, that's why Christian Bale was that convinced about it. See, every time he's in the Batman suit, he fucking hated it.
Aye.
It was uncomfortable, roasting, sweating, and everything. You know what I mean? He said to the people that went on to become Batman as well, make sure it's got a zipper on it. So he must have been busting for a fish.
Aye. And you know, see that scene as well as another bit of trivia when he wakes up after being out for 2 days. Apparently, he actually did fall asleep. And that night, when he woke up, Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine. Michael Caine's like that. He's bloody fell asleep, isn't he?
Oh, mate, it's brilliant, man. Again, there was all sorts of stuff around about it. You could go on about it for hours and hours, even days. I mean,
again, we've tried to trim it back again. We've still been in depth about it, but as you say, there's another hour in this to talk about that we've not touched on. But the very last kind of scene is Jim Gordon and Batman on the roof. We've get the first look at the new bat signal, and so is Batman, because he's at a wee tap, didn't he?
Aye, nice. It's not the thing, mate. It's not Batman put the spotlight into them.
It's Jim. And obviously Batman taps the bat on it as if to say nice touch. And getting back to the earlier scene, he goes like, we couldn't find any mob bosses.
But it kind of signifies a new age and stuff. Then
I'm here. I'm on your side. And then Jim says, good, because I've got a cake. And that's we've got a new buddy. We've got a new criminal in town. Just escaped from Arkham. He's got a touch of the theatricals, a bit like yourself. Because that way he's saying before that, where does it stop? We buy semi-automatics, the criminal buy automatics. And then where you're concerned, we've got another guy that likes to get into character.
He dress up.
Leaves a calling card.
I know. Because like I says, I didn't go to Fixes to see this. So see, after I'd seen that, before the Joker was in it, I had to go back and watch this one. And then see at the end, and I went, oh, so people knew the Joker was going to be the next one. I'm like,
but even though what I read as well, even though Nolan had signed to do the 3, he was made aware that if this film bombed, that would have been scrapped. There was a clause in the contract that, although this was all leading up to The Dark Knight, if the film didn't do as well as the producers and all that thought it would, they'd just been vetoed. But they were like, when can we start filming this next one? Do you know what I mean? They were casting for the Joker before Batman Begins stopped filming, apparently. And again, that's a review for another day, Dark Knight, because that's just fucking...
That's superb, man. That's my opinion. It's the best. It's still the best Batman film. But that's the thing with this trilogy as well. So you were saying about Christopher Nolan, the clause was, if this didn't do well, that was it. But he also countered it and he says, right, well, if this does well, we'll do the trilogy. But the trilogy stands alone.
Aye.
No part of anything. And that was it.
Yeah. Name multiverse. And again, anyone that knows the trilogy, like we know it, can see the journey. Every mainstay character in it as well. You see how Bruce has started and at the end, how he's nearly fucking ended. You know what I mean? Again, could talk about it for hours and hours and hours, but the last bit of dialogue between Jim and Bruce before the credits roll is Jim just saying to him, I never did get to say thank you. And Batman just says, you never will. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant.
I just sets the tone into it. Just the partnership. It's my duty. So, that's a smashing film, man.
Amazing. So there we go, folks. Batman Begins. It began 17 years ago, and we're still talking about it today like it's a new film. It's one of the ones I'll never get sick of. It's my favourite just now. Again, it's a mood thing as well. Like you said, I mean, The Dark Knight, you can get right into The Dark Knight and that's still like, whoa, blown away. Then you've got these arseholes that say, The Dark Knight Rises was the weaker of the three. It's just, well, maybe it's not your favourite. It's a fucking good movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not George Clooney fucking whipping out the Batman fucking credit card. Know what I mean?
Well, we'll look at it this way. I mean, but the first trilogy's standards would have had fucking Val Kilmer for the third one. You know what I mean? I don't know. Val Kilmer was all right. It was just the script and the setting and all that was bubblegum a wee bit. And it was the villains that kind of made that film anyway. Jim Carrey and
Tommy
Lee Jones, sorry. Well said, mate. Aye. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. That was The Batman Begins. Christopher and I will have a discussion to see what our next film will be. It's Chris's choice for the next one, which is like asking a fucking, I don't know, a Chinese man what his favourite tea is. You know what I mean?
Chinese tea.
How's you want it?
Oh, fucking brilliant.
Oh, terrible.
Asking a dog what its favourite ball is.
There you go. They're asking a dog what its favourite ball is. Again, that was shit. Fucking hell, man. I'm going to stop talking. I enjoyed that, mate. Did you enjoy that?
Good laugh, mate.
Wee bit more streamlined than the first one. A bit more audible as well.
Aye. So, let's hope so. There's been enough equipment bought for it.
Aye, very true. But from me, see you all next time, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in, and please like, share, subscribe, leave comments, and leave some suggestions if there's any films you want us to touch on, or anything you didn't agree with us discussing there as well. Let us know. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Know what I mean?
Goodbye.
Oh, hold on. Turn the recorder off. Goodbye.
And action!
You disgust me. Grow up.